Part two, guys, of Coffee Time with M.I.B. We pick right back up where we left off at. We were talking about our beautiful deep sea diver, G.I. Joe deep sea diver from 1999. This figure, once again, it retailed at $50. You know, you could walk into a Toys R Us or a Walmart and you can find this figure. I believe this figure was an exclusive at Toys R Us, so I think you just could get him from Toys R Us. But once again, you're just talking about pricing. Hasbro did a fantastic job. This was a throwback here to a more vintage deep sea diver, and Hasbro was really recreating a lot of the figures, G.I. Joe figures from the 1960s, and bringing them back into modern times, the late 1990s, early 2000s, with their timeless collection, line of G.I. Joes. Was this worth $50? Sure. Now, it didn't really dive. This was for display purposes only, and a lot of collectors complained about that. But price-wise, I think the pricing on this was fantastic. You know, it's what you're willing to pay. But my thing is, once again, where are we paying too much? Or are we paying too much for some of these toy lines? Hot Toys is another one. Hot Toys was Sideshow Collectibles. These figures range from anywhere from $180 to $300. And somebody wanted to know, how come I didn't have Hot Toys or Sideshow Collectibles? I said, because if I did, once again, we talked about that in our last Coffee Time with M.I.B, our last episode, you're gonna have a very small collection if you're gonna start spending $200 to $300 per figure to build a collection, So it's really what you like. And I think some of these toy companies, could they lower their prices? Should they lower their prices? Well, it depends on customer demand. We go back to, it always seems to go back to Mego. Now that they're back on, Mego's is, they're back on the market. They're back in stores. You can buy these guys. The prices, you're not going to beat Mego's prices. So a 14-inch Batman versus a 12-inch Sideshow Collectibles Batman or a Hot Toys Batman, it's going to come down to accessories, build quality, what you're looking for. But where Sideshow has probably definitely more articulation and things of that nature, the Batman Mego figure is definitely worth, what you're paying for, and then some. So this figure can hold his own. To me, this figure can hold his own against a Sideshow Collectible Batman. And I'm not just doing a price. And I'm a museum curator. So, I'm very unbiased in a lot of that regard, because I think Sideshow and Hot Toys they're fantastic toy lines. I just think they are just extremely too expensive. Will we eventually have a few of those pieces here in the museum? I have to, because I'm a collector. I enjoy action figures, and I enjoy the historical presentation and value of these figures. So we want a timeline of some of these toy lines, and we will be adding them, but we won't have a ton of those figures, primarily because you're talking about $200 to $300 per figure. And I think that's what we're trying to establish here with our Coffee Time discussion. What are you willing to pay financially on your action figures? What are you willing to give up, sacrifice? What toy lines do you feel simply are just charging too much for their action figures? Hasbro, Hot Toys, Sideshow Collectibles, Figures Toy Company, M.I.B. You can throw all those companies in there. We're looking at a Biff Bang Pow, $6 Million Man, Bigfoot, and let's bring him down. We'll bring him down. This is one of my pride and joy, one of my favorite figures in my collection. He was beautifully made. I found this guy on eBay. These particular figures are becoming very expensive now on eBay and Amazon. They're M.I.B-like figures. I want to say Dr. M.I.B had a hand in parts for this figure. If somebody knows that for certain, definitely leave it in the comments. We want all of your comments regarding this part 2 coffee time with M.I.B. What are your feelings on these figures, on these toy companies? Your budget. How much would you rather spend? Too much, not a lot, a little bit, every other month? I've had a subscriber say, hey, I only spend budget wise, I don't have a budget. I have like a budget for every other month. I don't really buy toys once a month. It's every other month, if that. This figure cost me on eBay roughly close to $80. That was including shipping and handling. I've seen this figure go as high as $150. From $100 to $150. So I felt as though I got a pretty decent deal. Difficult to find in this condition because, once again, you're looking for I'm a museum owner, curator. I'm looking for museum examples, mint on card, mint in box. But I think that this figure probably retailed around $25 when it first came out, which I think is a pretty fair price. I think around $20, $25. That's now, granted, that's if you can find these in brick and mortar stores, because then you get into collecting online. Now you're talking about shipping, handling, and those fees. That adds up after a while. So these figures, Figures Toy Company is very expensive. It adds up. It adds up. 2 figures at $29.99 plus shipping and handling. You're well over $70 at that point just for 2 figures. To me, that's too much. That's too much. But when you don't have a choice, and they are making a very good product, that becomes expensive. So you have to kind of make a decision. And yes, my spending has shifted more towards M.I.B because of the pricing. You can just add so many more high quality figures to your collection for half the cost. And it's M.I.B. It's M.I.B. So we just wanted to kind of touch bases with that, guys. What are your thoughts on some of these companies, the pricing of these action figures? Are they too much? Are they too little? Are you somewhere in between? We want all of that. No opinion. Leave your thoughts in the comment section underneath this video. But we wanted to get this, this out. This is a 2-part series. We wanted, because we kind of want to catch everybody's thoughts. It's really a hot topic of discussion because you're getting into budgets and spending too much. And I just want to see if you know, you feel it, some of you guys feel as though some of these companies are taking advantage of us. You know, yeah, you don't have to buy it, you know, but at the same time, it shouldn't cost that much either. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. You know the routine, guys. God bless. And keep collecting.